This was once a land of fable, of adventure. A magical land full of characters and creatures that resemble those in the stories you've been told. In this land, time is hazy, and everyone spends their lives searching for their happy ever-afters. There was harmony, forces of good working for those happy endings. But evil was always lurking around the corner. Now, a terrible calamity has occurred. A massive explosion, a series of attacks. Our land has lost its magic, drained away by some unknown force. Our realm needs help. People from other places, other worlds, who can use their powers to bring back what we once had. Adventurers, thank you all for coming. Our fate now rests on your shoulders. Welcome to Reverie.
Once upon a time in Reverie, just as our heroes began to adjust to their new reality, another adventurer appeared through a portal. Princess Anastasia arrived, intent on helping, while also learning how to be the best royal that she could. Then the group toured the Lost Boys tree. They went to the makeshift fairy infirmary and met the saucy Tinkerbell, who managed to talk her way into a thimbleful of Leo's drink. Then they met Pockets, the Lost Boys trader, with a cheeky grin and pockets full of trinkets. Next, they met Arabella, the smith and tinkerer. She was fascinated by Mal's armor and helped her to be able to remove it. And finally, they met the White Rabbit with his perfect tea set and a huge map of Reverie. At the end of the session, each hero found their own place by the tree and set themselves up for the long haul. And I'll go ahead and post that in here as well. So you have spent the night in your new setups that you designed last time. And we wake up in the morning. We discussed last time that your plan, you said you're going to go to Rose Cottage and then the Woodland Village. But before that, when you first wake up, does anyone have anything that they want to do before you leave? Someone you want to talk to or something you want to do? Okay, much Jupiter. Okay, well, I mean, if no one has anything, we can have you guys set out. Are you guys looking for someone to, I guess, anyone want to verbalize how you end up like, who do you go to try to find to get started in the morning?
I missed last session, so I have no idea what we're doing.
And we missed you.
But
Yeah.
but it was well spent. I saw my niece.
Hey yo. I'll just go outside, see whoever. Is anybody about? Is anybody about? Is anybody, are the boys out?
Yes. I feel like the boys are like very split, where you've got some that are more that young boy thing or young kid thing of like they get up super, super early in the morning a lot of times and are like, bunch of energy. And then you got half of them that are like, get away from me, I'm sleeping. So you've got a half of them who are just like running around doing whatever they feel like. I would say you don't see anyone you recognize right now. You also would see some adults of various, they all look, probably to your eye, they all look human. But you also see some adults that you don't recognize. There's plenty of people kind of wandering. But I don't think there's anyone that you've met yet that would be wandering around.
I just start greeting people. Diplomacy.
Yeah.
What?
Hi.
Just like saying hi.
Just saying hi.
Discord.
You know,
Sweet.
diplomacy. Never know when you might need allies.
So, all of the adults that you see that you say something to are very pleasant and very well mannered and just like, good morning, and just act like it's no big deal. Like, oh, it just must be someone they haven't met. I mean, you look standard princess, right? So
Yeah.
they're just kind of like, yeah, Cool. Someone I haven't met. No big deal. And you get kind of half and half from kids. Like half the kids are like, hi, hi, and run off back to whatever they're doing, and half of them are kind of like, who are you? And then just walk away or go back to what they were doing.
Understandable. No, an adult just walking up to a child, be like, hello. Little sketchy.
I will say none of them are like, they don't look at you like you're a creep. They more just look like, why are you interrupting me? Go away. Like, stupid adults. That kind of look.
Okay. That's what Anastasia did.
So
I think, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. You go first.
Okay, I think that Mal would be up trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with her armor. So I would also like to use one of my artificer infusions. Yeah, so essentially I'm just making my shit cooler. So this one is enhanced defense, so it's just a +1 to AC. So she's gonna um be fiddling with her armor.
Is that something that like requires, so sorry. Is that something that like requires like items or anything for it to work?
That's a wonderful question that I don't know the answer to because I've never played an artificer before, but I will find out.
Okay. Well, I think at this point you've only just come through, so I would assume if it's something basic, you probably still. I'll just copy the items and say that you had them with you. As long as you're not like, I don't know, doubling your power. Like, yeah, you probably had whatever you needed. I'm sorry, I don't know where my Frenchie is crying. Please shut up. Thank you. So where did we leave the armor with Mal? You had it. It was able to be like you were no longer wearing it, correct?
I think Arabella like helped with like grease the mechanism or something. Because I distinctly remember like a Sailor Moon transformation montage when she got out of the
Yes.
suit.
Yes. Yes. So the suit is still kind of experimental, right? So it's not that there's some issue with it right now. It's more that like it's experimental. You're not done with it really.
Yes, this is probably like prototype 5.
Okay. So you're tinkering around with that. Ellie, I was just asking kind of what you said in the chat about like, so what was Zephyr doing? I think usually, like going forward, I will kind of say like we'll pick what you were doing and then you were doing that. But
Well,
given the nature of last session, I would say that you were with everyone.
because we
So
had
you have met.
discussed in because we had discussed in before last session happened, we had discussed that she was going to research a little bit to see how her magic and this world's magic coincided. Whether she found anything of use or not is irrelevant. It was just, I know that we had both talked about her being like somewhere she could research a little bit.
So, not to give anything away, but I think you're going to have more of an opportunity to do that today. And I think I don't want to have to go through and reintroduce those characters from last time. I don't know if you saw, I posted the NPCs and I was also in the summary.
Yeah.
You'll get to meet them.
It's just I have no idea who Lay's character is, what she looks like, what she acts like, so it's going to be kind of awkward for
Not.
to
I was
come
gonna
down
say,
and
let
do
me
it.
try and sign in.
Maybe we can all refer.
Hills, I think you're not
Okay, I
muted.
can just figure.
I do,
Yeah, let me know.
Lay, if you want to talk through your character like very briefly, just to give Ellie some context.
So Anastasia, whichever way I pronounce it, I do it different every time. She is very princessy. She has long white hair with a tiara that has a lunar moth on it. And she's in a long green flowy dress. She just looks very princessy because she is a princess. She's an elf. I forgot to say that. She is an elf. I don't think I told you that last time. But she is a paladin. And she's just a lovely little lady.
Okay. You said she has white hair?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
She
Seb
also-
posted a picture in one of the things that he drew. At least he showed me. I don't know if he posted
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's posted in the art
it.
channel.
Okay.
And I believe I'm gonna say Anastasia until you tell me otherwise.
I say it different every time. With her accent, who knows?
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say Anastasia until you tell me otherwise, including how characters say it. Because I think your accent is gonna be unique to you, basically.
Thank you.
So I believe Anastasia got flirted with. I can't remember now whether it was by Himbo Mouse or the Darkness Mouse. I think it was Himbo Mouse, right?
It was the darkness.
It
was
was
the
the
darkness?
Master of Darkness.
It was Leslie.
It was Leslie.
Yeah, so they flirted a little bit, and it was real cute and strange. Um. So my hesitation in the moment, Ellie, is just that I don't have something like written for you that you could have found out. And
She
I
could
hate
have
to
literally
not have
found
something
out
written for you.
nothing. Like, she could have literally found out nothing. It could have been useless for her in the context that she has thus far and whatnot. It feels weird for me as a player to be like, oh yeah, and here's this player or this character that I have no clue who they are, trying to interact as if I knew who they were.
Okay, we can work with that. So can you just one more time phrase for me? If you're searching for an answer to a question, what was the question? I'm probably not going to give you much, but I can see if there's anything I want to throw you.
Oh, she's basically just looking to try and understand how the rules of magic work in this world and if it's comparable to anything she recognizes. So, like, she's just looking like, okay, do they mention what their source of power is?
Okay. What I will give you is you are absolutely flabbergasted by the lack of information. And not as in oh, I can't find any books. Like, you were able to find some people with some books. And you were able to find some things. But it's like no one has bothered to write the rules down. At least like generally. Everyone's just like, yeah, this is how magic. And then they move
Magic
on.
works.
Like, everyone's just kind of takes it for granted. And it's just kind of like, yeah, the magic, cool. And you're like, but what do you mean? Now, you didn't find any like textbooks. So it's not like, you found the textbooks from some like wizard school or something, but just kind of general reading.
Magic exists and we love it. All right, that's perfect. That's perfect. She hates it.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
I would say, given at the end of session, the person who pointed you most where to go was the White Rabbit. So if any of you are like trying to move forward with the day, that's probably where we would head. Does anyone have anything else like Mal with her armor that you would be doing before you try to find White Rabbit?
I think
Sorry, I'm
that,
laughing at the chat as
I
always.
think that Leo probably would have headed towards the White Rabbit anyway, just because information. So he might be a little ahead of the gang, but not like, I don't have anything. I don't have any thoughts. So I have nothing to say, but I think that's what he would have probably done upon.
Okay, then I have two questions. First of all, Mal and Milo, I'm sure you end up next to each other. My question is, which one of you is the one who's going to tell the other, okay, we should get going?
Oh, that's definitely Milo.
Okay, great. I wanted to clarify that about characters. I would thought it would be. So Milo is the one who has to be like, okay, should probably go. Okay, and then so I'm going to just assume, unless someone tells me they have something they want to do, that everyone else is then headed towards White Rabbit. And but Leo is there first. So, Jupiter, I don't know if you have anything specifically that you want White Rabbit to be doing when he approaches, but I would love to have that awkward moment play out of Leo being the only one there for a moment before everyone else shows up.
White Rabbit is obviously either in the process of pouring tea as there are people arriving, or is settled in his ridiculously like ornate desk chair, and is sipping tea quietly. Maybe like a book open in front of him on the table.
I think that Leo would kind of knock awkwardly and feel pretty apologetic about interrupting, especially this early, because he tends to wake up early, considering his background. But I think he's probably more just visiting to see if he can find out more about the world that they've gotten themselves stuck in. So, just kind of questions about the surrounding area, like things like what's the landscape like, not even like big important questions. Just so I'm totally cool with not having to have that whole conversation. If it's more just he wants background knowledge about the world they're getting into.
I think that if he starts asking questions like that, I lost the chat that the map is in. There it is. Okay. So he's got the map that's like up on his wall. And so he would, if Leo started asking questions in that direction, he would immediately stand, offer a cup of tea, of course. And then fantastic. And then he would just turn to the map and he would start kind of like describing the area that that you guys have wound up in. It would just be like almost just like goes into like history teacher like vibe of just like, and this is kind of like where this has happened, and not like a deep dive or anything, but just points out the important places that are around the area.
Sorry. Perfect. That's great. Yeah, he'll gladly accept a cup of tea and be listening very closely.
Cool. So I'm going to say the rest of the party all shows up, ready to go. I don't know if I realized I didn't. Oh, I do have something. Cool. As you are all starting to arrive, Arabella comes running up. And I think I'd go ahead and say that she probably goes to Mal because she talked with Mal the most. And just says, I heard you might be going to the Woodland Village today. If you do, could you please give this to my father? He's holding down my shop for me while I'm here. And she hands you a regular looking chisel, but it's got like a little note attached to it with a ribbon. So I realized I accidentally took both of these instead of just the one I was going to take with me. He doesn't even have one now. I'm sure he's lost without it. If you don't go, you can just give it back to me. But if you can, that'd be great. I'm sure he'd be willing to point you out to places while you're there as well.
Consider it done. And then Mal opens up her journal with like the shitty drawings and like writes a little note because she will forget if she doesn't.
Oh, that's adorable. Okay, so then Arabelle kind of just like thanks and smiles awkwardly and then gets out of there. Clearly not wanting to hang around and chat. And you have one more visitor. Pocket shows up. I think he's just gonna kind of address this to the group. I don't think he goes to anyone in particular. He kind of sees the crowd and he goes like, "Hey, looks like everyone's up in the morning. I hear you guys have a busy day planned today. Going lots of places."
Yes.
Who is this?
Pocket. The little lost
Pocket.
boy.
The little trader dude with pockets all down. But I did post some on the NPC compendium, so if you guys need reminders of anyone, you can always pull that up as well. It's got little, yeah. I am curious about how awake each of you are. Are you or are you not a morning person? Is basically what I want to get from each of you.
Wakes up, birds are singing, helping her get dressed. She does not know a bad morning.
Expect nothing less.
Z is not a morning person. Kier is. So the horse is chipper, but Z is.
He's not.
No.
I can't promise that Leo is chipper, but he is awake.
Milo's probably one of the first people up.
Mal is a
I
morning
don't know if
person.
Milo's ever chipper.
Mal is a morning person in that she has been awake all night and has.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's fine. She's fine. She's done this a million times.
What about Du Bois?
Chauncey's been awake forever. He's like already done a round of rounds in the infirmary. And then Patrick has been up for a little bit. He did some little practices in the morning, and people haven't no one's seen the Master of Darkness yet. He's around, we're sure, but have we seen him? No.
Not sure where. Awesome. So I'm guessing from kind of the overall vibe then when Pockets comes up and is like, "Hey!" Most of the group is kind of like, "Uh-huh. Hi." Whereas Anastasia's like, so he's kind of like gauges the group is like, "Uh-huh. Okay." All right, and he brings it down a little bit of a notch, visibly brings it down a notch. So I heard a little birdie tell me that I think y'all end up she probably wouldn't say y'all, that you guys might end up at the Handsome Hunter today. And I was just wondering if you end up going there, if you could maybe if you get a chance, if you could get LeFou's autograph for me. He's like my favorite. So I haven't been able to see his act in a while. And yeah, if it's not too much trouble.
No, it's not trouble at all. Gladly do it. Yes.
Yeah, if you go by, just make sure you go when he's gonna do a set. You'll love it, I'm sure. I mean, it's an acquired taste for some people, but I really like it. So I hope all you will like it too.
Ayo.
Okay, well, things to do, people to see. Bye. He like fingers guns his way out of there.
He's just looking where he was and has run off and is just like giving this strong look at Kier, like, what the heck was that?
Just a small child, no biggie. Okay, I don't know how to make you all go to the place you all said you were gonna go, but like, are we cool with all going to the place we said we were gonna go? You guys said you were gonna go to Rose Cottage first.
Yeah, I think once everyone's ready, we can just, head out.
Okay. Anything else before you leave? Last chance.
As we're starting to leave, the White Rabbit reaches into a drawer and grabs something, and then is like, "If you don't mind, I'll be accompanying you to Rose Cottage.
Certainly.
Oh my God.
Would anybody
Anastasia's
like some
reaction.
tea before we go? Coffee?
I would love some tea.
He whips out a couple of cups of tea really quickly.
Crying.
Z will drink it if he puts it in front of her, because that's the polite thing to do.
Did you say coffee? She gets this look like a manic 3-year-old.
Oh,
The white rabbit, he kind of like you can see he almost like stifles a sigh. But he does bring out a small contraption which he can pour over coffee in. He says, "Yes, I did in fact dig up some coffee. It is polite to offer a drink, and despite your unfortunate dislike for tea, I figured I would find something that you did enjoy."
That was very kind of you. Thank you.
You are quite welcome. And he hands you a nice pour over cup of coffee.
okay. So after we all have our drinks, we head out to Rose Cottage. Once again, having seen the size of the map, you are surprised by how quick the journey is. Seems like, based on the size of the map, that it should take you longer, but it doesn't. So when you arrive, you see a sweet little cottage, white walls with dark brown wood accents, a cute little thatched roof. There are roses of all shapes and colors climbing the walls like ivy, as well as countless flowering bushes around the fronts and sides. There's a small little hand-painted sign next to the beautifully carved door that reads Rose Cottage. And as you approach the cottage, you can hear faint voices from inside.
I go and knock on the door.
Awesome. Okay. So,
It explodes.
everything explodes.
While they're walking,
anyone?
can
Yeah.
Leo just kind of get Zephyr up to date with what they missed?
Yeah.
I think that Leo will make sure to walk next to them and just kind of give them an update on like who these people are and what they're doing.
Yeah, and I think with Rose Cottage, you guys really didn't know much. I think you were told that there were sisters living here, and that's about it. They might have some things for you. So a moment after Anastasia knocks on the door, here, one moment, please. And you, a second later, door opens, and you see this sweet little gray-haired lady. I'll put it in there in a minute. Sweet little gray-haired lady in a very eclectic, strange-looking outfit, with a huge rose in her hair and some other like. It seems like she has a random smattering of like earrings and jewelry as well. She opens the door, she's got just little eyeglasses on, and she kind of stares at you for a second and goes, "Oh, hello, dears. Come in. Would you like a cup of tea? I just put a kettle on for myself and Flora. Merryweather won't leave a room for anything, but I thought I'd at least offer one, see if it can coax her out. If only she'd come and sit with us. I'm sure she'd feel just a mite better." Through this whole little monologue of hers, she has opened the door, let you all in. You see a quaint little sitting room. The decor is eclectic in both style and color, but it feels homey and comforting as a whole. An older woman sits in a comfortable-looking armchair. A different lady is sitting in a comfortable-looking armchair with a neatly folded blanket in her lap. It takes her a moment to notice your arrival, despite the First Lady's chatter. But when she does, her face is shocked, even a little startled. And the lady who opened the door for you goes over to her and fusses, moving the blanket to tuck it in around her. They bicker for a moment, and then she turns to you. And this all takes like a matter of seconds. So unless someone's really trying to jump in here, you don't get to say anything. And she turns back to you and starts on her little ramble again. "Oh, Flora hates letting me be the one to greet everyone. She's in no condition right now to be entertaining guests." And it's like thrown over her shoulder at the one who's seated. Well, dears, my name's Fauna. It's lovely to meet all of you. She finally pauses for a second to look through her glasses and kind of stare at the group of you. Now, who in the blazes are all of you?
Well, I am Anastasia. These are the group that I'm traveling with. I don't think I ever introduced myself to them, or they to me. So I don't know who they are either.
She just kind of nods, like everything you said makes total sense and isn't weird at all. Oh, well, it's wonderful to meet you, Anastasia, and all of the rest of you. Are you adventurers? That sounds exciting. What are you adventuring for right now?
A rabbit told us to come here.
A rabbit. Oh, it's you. Hello. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, my dear. As soon as the door had opened, he has beelined over to where Flora is sitting and has set up a table in between them. And he has pulled out the box that he grabbed from his desk and has set up a chess board between the two of them.
And you can all see the relief in Flora's face of like, dear God, something to do. Thank you. And is continuing to just like, she has not even, after her little look at all of you, she's playing chess. She's ignoring all of you. Oh, see, you're here with the white rabbit. And she sees that she's playing. She's like, well, so are you on a quest? I assume you're on a quest. He's quite often with people on a quest. What is your quest that you're on?
Anastasia knows. I forgot.
I don't know how to handle her.
Katie, I think what I'm struggling with is that I, as a player, have forgotten what the next steps we had planned out were.
Same.
And
so we didn't have like a goal. How to put this?
The ending quest.
You have no answer yet for what is your like quest right now. Like, what are you going to find? You only have an answer for like overall.
So what was our plan though? Because I have forgotten.
Me too.
You're basically just you talked about going to Rose Cottage because you thought that it was mentioned that they might have like things for you that could help, and then you were told to go to Woodland Village, specifically to Gaston's Tavern, which I have now dropped. It's called the Handsome Hunter, because Gaston was the one who killed the crocodile.
Right.
TikTok.
But that's it. That's all you really have right now. You are at a distinct lack of knowledge currently.
Okay. I think
but the mice. Go ahead.
No, because you're talking like planning stuff. So you go ahead.
I was going to say the mice know these ladies.
I would say they've probably met them. Sorry, they've met them before, but I don't think they would be people they've like spent much time with or anything. They know who these three ladies are.
Okay.
Which if you know your Sleeping Beauty lore, if you've caught the names yet, it's Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Yeah. So, yes, you know that they are three sisters. I would say you probably don't know much more than what the group has kind of seen already, that these are three sisters, that they live in Rose Cottage. I guess you know that they have magic, but then again, everyone in this world had magic, so like you know they had more magic than most, I guess. Okay. And you know that they're connected to Aurora. The same way most of you, if you know the classic Sleeping Beauty story, would guess that they're connected to some version of Aurora.
Mm-hmm. Seb, did you want to say something?
I was gonna say that if nobody speaks up, Leo from the back is just gonna like real gruffly be like, "We're here to fix things," and just kind of like leave it at that.
No, that's great because I think that she'll immediately like fix things. Oh, fix things. Oh, yes, of course. Oh my goodness. Yes, well, Flora over here would certainly like that, wouldn't you, my dear? And she's kind of like, and I know Merriweather would too. I would introduce you, but she's off somewhere else, I think, in the back. Ugh, she won't even come out of her room now. These two, they just don't know how to handle it without all their magic to help them. Thankfully, it's always more of a hobby for me, so it doesn't bother me quite as much as they do. But I guess it'd be lovely to have my sisters back to what they usually are. I suppose it is quieter without them. Oh, but I miss it. I miss the bickering. Oh, how can you not?
There is a very clear look on his face that says, "This is quieter." He immediately regrets speaking up. Like he's immediately overwhelmed.
Zephyr will speak up and just be like, your third sister, I see your second sister. How is your third sister affected by the loss of magic?
Oh, unfortunately the same. I mean, I can't find anything physically wrong with them. Well, not that Merriweather would let me anywhere near her. But well, you see, we're the three of us are slightly different than I'm betting that many of the people you've met so far. How did Flora always put it? And like you can hear Flora mumble something, and Fauna goes over and there's like, what? Oh yes. What such a good turn of phrase. Oh, such a good turn of phrase, my dear. We are partly magic ourselves. And you hear her like almost put on a voice like, we are partly magic ourselves. Some of our essence is intertwined with magic. So for us, I'm sure, well, have you met the fairies yet?
Briefly?
Yes, so not as badly as the fairies, I'm sure. I haven't seen any of them since, but I can only imagine that they are not well, given that they are, well, almost entirely magic. But I we are not quite on that level. I mean, I'm not quite as small as they are, and I don't have wings, unfortunately. But for me and my sisters, it's a little bit, I don't know, a bit like needing a nap at all times. Just a little bit under the weather, I suppose. But I think they're taking it harder than I am. They just they don't know how to go about their day without it. And I think, and she does like a whisper, but she's clearly terrible at whispering. So it's very much like a stage whisper of like, I just don't think Flora can handle not being in charge right now. She really hates to have to be the one to just sit down and do nothing. She always wants to be on the go.
This is Ellie asking this question. Do I get a sense that this is her usual personality, or is this sort of like a lack of magic induced manic kind of like, is she going through like a manic phase trying to cover the fact that she feels lost? Like, is she over, like, is this her normal personality, or is this her overcompensating in a manic phase?
I'm going to ask for okay, I'm going to you can choose insight or perception, and I will give you a slightly different response depending on that.
Okay, I'm gonna do insight, I think. I don't get anything because I rolled a 1.
So yeah, she seems like a crazy old lady, but you aren't sure if that's crazy recent or if she's always been crazy. If anyone wants to do that roll for one of those other two, I'm cool with
Here
that.
is definitely going to.
Again, insight or
23
perception.
insight.
19
Okay.
for Kier.
Is that perception or insight?
Insight for mine.
Okay. So what you guys both pick up just from watching her and listening to her talk, some of the like her speech patterns seem like she must have said something in the same speech pattern a million times. So your best guess is that this is probably not new because it doesn't seem like she's said some of these things with the same rhythm many times before. So your best guess is probably that this isn't new.
Here,
Leo,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Leo making a mental note to avoid the cottage.
Kier just speaks into Zephyr's mind like, no, this is her. I'm sorry.
So actually that is her, but I didn't really do her voice. So silly. I would bet, she turns and she points at the white rabbit. I would bet that you were sent with him to me because I have some things that you could use. Now, usually you'd be going to Flora first. I mean, she's always the most helpful with these things, but it seems as if magical items have not completely lost their potency now that things have changed. So I am the one that can be helpful now. Let me see. And she kind of flutters around a bit, and you notice that there are like the most random ass things all over this house. Like it's eclectic and it's pretty obvious there are three sisters of very distinct personalities who argue constantly about how they're going to decorate this room. But there's also just random crap laying around, and it becomes pretty clear that like these are random like projects, crafts, just like strewn around the place in like the most bizarre spots. Like, oh, here's like three nice candles in a row, and then there's a project, and you're like, so she let me pull this up. She grabs a handful of things, one of which dominates the the pile. So you don't see the other three. What you first see is, oh, I really should have had this all set up. I just put it in general for right now. What you first see is what you see in chat. It's sitting on top of her hand. She clearly has other things in her hands. But you see this absolutely enormous and heinous hat. Like the most heinous hat you've ever seen in your life. You're like, what is this? It's a truly atrocious hat. In the center of the red flower, I'm not even gonna make you roll for it. It's really obvious. There's a very large rune-looking thing that very faintly glows. So, as you're all staring in what I assume is shock at this ridiculous fucking thing, she goes, so, this is one of my fun ones. I have no idea where the idea for this came from. Well, I love making little hats, and then I thought, why don't I add something to it? So I made this rune. I don't entirely know. I must have read a story that made me think of this. But it actually protects you from undead in a little bit of a radius. Whenever you are wearing this hat. So that's an option if you end up needing it.
Do you expect us to run into undead?
She goes like big-eyed for a second. Oh, well, I wouldn't know, dear. I don't really leave my cottage very much, so I have no idea what's happening out there. I just thought I'd grab what I could find for you. If you don't want it, I can put it away. Let me see. And she like,
no, I want it.
What? And she just hands it off to her and starts going for the next thing.
Zephyr looks at Leo and is just like, did they get that from the pirate?
He audibly snorts and has to kind of turn to hide his face.
Where do I want to put this? I'm going to share this with everyone so you can see. So I'm just going to put it in the general. There's the item description. Take one guess why it's -2 to charisma.
Because it's so distracting with its beauty that people just lose all charisma.
With its beauty.
With its beauty.
Correct.
I love it. I would wear it right now if it was in the room.
Oh my god. So now that that hat has been passed up to Anastasia, you can see the small pile of other things underneath. And the next thing you see, the next thing she kind of pulls out to show you from this small little pile in her hands. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, I'm trying to grab the picture. Is this enormous ring? Come on, man. One of the boys.
I was gonna say, as you put it on, Leslie just kind of jumps onto it, so he's kind of blending in with the feathers stealthily.
Oh, yeah, you don't even have to roll stealth checks when you're hiding in that hat. Free stealth for you there.
You just feel like a little thump on top of your head, and you hear him go, "You look lovely."
Oh my God.
You're so kind.
So, in the chat is the next thing she pulls out. This cute but very silly cocktail ring. The eyes of the adorable cat can bring warmth to even the coldest heart. It is very heavy on the hand. So, she just explains, yes, well, there was this cat at one point who was wandering around the cottage a lot, and I just could not get him to want to let me pet him, and it was very upsetting. So that's where this one came about. It looks a little bit like that cat, although I couldn't get its features quite right. But it gives you a little bit of a magical help with animal handling.
Mal's eyes go wide because she loves that ring, but she will not say it. She'll just make like puppy dog eyes at it.
I feel like Milo might notice that.
For sure.
Does he grab it for her? Does he ask for it for her?
He nudges her gently and then steps forward and is like, I'll take the ring.
Oh, lovely. I think it'll look lovely on your hands, my dear. Put your hands off.
I'm sure it will.
And let me put this. Why are you processing? Just post it. So there's the stats. You get a +5 to animal handling, but you get a -1 to all weapon attack rolls because it's so freaking heavy on your hand that you don't have the same dexterity. So Dan's stats on that. Next thing. What have I done? Can you tell I had fun with this? Yeah, Milo and Mal are not related. I mean, correct?
Not related.
So the next thing you see is this very like kooky looking sleep mask. Yes, there was a point where Meriwether simply could not sleep. So I made her this one to try to help her out. Well, unfortunately, she took issue with the print on it, so she never actually used it. So I promise it's completely clean. It's never been used. But yes, if you need any help with being able to fall asleep, this one assists with that. If anyone moved to get that, otherwise she's basically gonna like set that on the coffee, just kind of toss it to the coffee table. Cool. And then the last thing that she has left is this ridiculous thing. Now I don't know about this one. Maybe you'll just find it pretty. I don't know. This was made for. I made this specifically for Meriwether. She's always complaining about how we never believe her when she tells us things. Well, so I made this to prove to her that we could. It may make it a little bit harder to lie. But when you are trying to convince someone of something, you are more likely to be believed as long as you have a pure heart, have a true heart.
Wait,
And so that one she like dangles off her finger in case anyone wants to take it.
So for clarification, does that make it so that no one can lie to you, or that you can spin a truth to someone else?
I posted the stats in there, but
Dee's asking that question.
It makes it harder to lie. I'll post the stats with it, even though no one grabbed it, just in case. I mean, I'm sure one of you will like grab it just to hold on to it, but if you want to use it. So the True Heart necklace is +3 to persuasion as long as you have good or neutral intentions, and it's -5 to deception. And the sleep mask gives you double the healing when you take a short rest, but you lose -4 to your initiative until the next long rest then. So just trade off.
Patrick is just kind of sitting there watching the sparkly necklace just swing a little bit, just like
Z she'd like to reach out for the necklace.
She'll hand it off to you.
And she's just going to tuck that into a belt pouch. She's not going to wear it yet.
And if any of you need that on D&D Beyond, I can make those on there for you. I haven't because I know plenty of you don't use that for everything. But if you want me to make it on there, just send me a message and I can, if you end up using one of them. So I'm sure I could find you more things, but I have this terrible habit of leaving my little projects wherever I finish them, and so I'd have to do a real search. I mean, usually I'd offer to make you something too, but dreaded curse or whatever it is stopped my fun altogether. Guess I'm not quite as bad off as my sisters. Poor Flora doesn't know what to do, and Merryweather, oh my goodness. Magic was always more of a fun hobby for me than it was a serious endeavor like for them. They hardly know what to do with it. Now that it's all gone.
So is it that they just are they affected? I don't mean to sound rude. Are they affected mentally, or is it just
find it? It's really hard to offend me.
Or is it just that they don't know what to do with themselves because they use their magic so much to do things?
She pauses and thinks for a moment. Both. I'd say both. Suppose. I think they're both taking a little bit hard emotionally, but they do seem, well, kind of looked down at herself. You might be surprised, but I'm usually a little more athletic than this. She kind of does a stupid little motion, because she has been, and you realize as fast as her mouth has been moving this entire time, she has, except for when she went to look for her projects, she has stayed in one place the entire time. She's been physically rather still. And you would immediately get the feeling that that's probably the part that's different. Usually she'd be flitting around the room the entire time, but she does not have the energy for that right now.
I have to retcon because I forgot that Patrick's blind and he can't see the necklace.
He could hear it dangling on the chain, though.
Yeah, I was going to say he was listening to the dangling of the metal on the chain, but he was not looking at it.
I'm glad it's not just me that forgets that they're blind constantly. I will say, I mean, it is very chunky, so if anything's going to make kind of a clinking noise for it, it's going to be that.
You just sort of takes a mental note of her, Flora, whichever one was speaking.
Fauna is the one you've been talking with. Flora is the one playing chess with the White Rabbit. Merryweather is the one that you have not seen.
Z just sort of makes a mental note because this is, she recognizes some of these symptoms. So, okay.
I was debating about making perception roll, but I'm just going to tell you guys. You can very easily, if your character bothers to look at Flora playing chess with White Rabbit, the difference in their personality is extremely obvious. Fauna is dressed like the kookiest grandma, but slightly fairy tale version of it. Whereas Flora looks more like your nice grandma who would bake you cookies and take you shopping. Looks a little more like you'd expect a nice old lady to look. And Fauna looks very, just even from looking at her, she has a very kooky style of dress as well. So yeah, you can understand why they probably butt heads when Flora's speaking more. Oh my gosh, yes, the locket is definitely as big as one of the mice's heads. Completely.
If nobody takes the mask, Anastasia's just going to grab it just to keep it if anybody wants it later on.
I was gonna say that Leo would probably pocket it if nobody
Then
else grabs
then
it.
I didn't touch it.
Okay. Yeah, Leo will pick it up and kind of nod and stick it in his pocket because at the very least it might be useful eventually.
Awesome. And if you ever, I have it in a set of slides. So if you ever need the information again, just let me know and I can send it to you. Okay. I would say that, okay, now I'm debating. I would say that White Rabbit and Flora are finishing up their match. I would say that White Rabbit wins. And Flora is not happy about it. Flora is very upset about it. She's not like, I mean, she's not gonna throw a tantrum, but she's clearly like, if I was feeling better, I'd get you with this. I will win next time. I'm gonna say she leans into White Rabbit and you all can't hear what she says, but they start resetting the board.
He does mumble, very hard to hear in case, unless anybody's like actually listening to this situation, but he does say, it does make it so you can't cheat as easily, that is for sure.
Amazing. Fauna turns around and sees them resetting the board and goes, another match, how exciting. Well, I'd love to watch this one. Unless all of you need something more. And you can hear this, like, you can hear a tea kettle that, like, screams from the other room. And she goes tottering off. And it's just, like, holding the tea kettle when she comes back. Like, she has not poured it yet. She's literally just holding the tea kettle. And it's like, I know the rabbit would want some, and I'm sure Flora, dear, could use some. I might ask Mary whether, do any of you want some? I assume you have... I assume you're not going to spend all day sitting with us little old ladies. Would you like one before you go?
No, thank you.
She just takes your answer for the group. Like, she doesn't even wait for everyone else. She just, right, and toddles back off to the kitchen and starts pouring cups for the rabbit and herself and Flora.
Should we head on to the next spot? Next.
While she's gone, the White Rabbit is going to quickly turn away from the chess game and turn to the boys and just be like, you know where the town is. You'll be able to lead the group there.
Yes, of course I can do that.
Of course. Well, then I hope you have safe travels.
Well, where do you go?
I have a game to win.
Well, that's all. Right then.
One of his ears, both of his ears have been facing forward. One of his ears turns back and he turns around really quickly and is like, don't think I can't hear you moving those pieces while my back is turned. At Fauna.
And Fauna has completely forgotten that all of you exist now. She has pulled up another chair next to the chess match and has set a cup next to each of them and has one in her hand and is just like ready for the next game.
Yeah,
we heading out?
Rabbit does
sorry.
kind of like a half bow. That's okay. That's it. And turns back.
Okay.
All right then. Everyone ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Z is very uncertain about the blind mice leading them.
Patrick just kind of walks over to Kier and goes, "Can I get back on top there?" He's asking the horse.
He hears in his head, of course, and Z will reach down and pick him up and put him on Kier's head between his ears.
Right, off we go. And then on the horse, he's just gonna kind of lead them towards the town and the tavern.
be my perfect blinking teeth.
As soon as they're out of earshot of Fauna, Mal is going to lean into Milo and be like, "Is that what I sound like?"
No.
Well, that's a relief.
While he's got her attention, Milo is going to take her hand, and he kind of glances around and makes sure that no one's looking, and he just slips the ring into her hand and then lets go and kind of steps ahead of her, keeps walking.
She is both dumbfounded and blushing furiously.
He's also blushing furiously.
She doesn't put the ring on because she's wearing gloves, but she does like stick it in her bag of holding.
Not to be DM for a second, but does Mal mention the thing she needed to do?
Yes.
Great! Not to lead you at all.
I do say she's probably like, so you said it's just a chisel, or is there anything fun about the chisel?
There's a note. That's all there is. If you want to read the note, you can.
I do want to read the note because I'm a nosy bitch.
Okay. The note says, where is it? Thank you for watching the shop, Papa. I couldn't do this without you. I love you.
Okay. Yeah, she's just gonna hold on to it and um like hold it in front of Milo's face and be like, I forgot there's something we have to do.
What? You mean more than what we're already doing?
Yes. I Chisel? Chisel. Arabella's father. It's his.
The chisel.
The chisel.
The chisel. All right. Where is this guy?
The village?
That's
Okay,
that's very helpful.
I'm gonna give Em some information really fast. So the mines know the village. I would say this is one of several places that, like, this is one of several kind of towns
Yeah,
in
they've been
Reverie.
around.
So you've been there. You may not know everyone personally, but you know the area. You could navigate there just fine. You know that the Handsome Hunter is kind of the farthest place, kind of like at the end of the road. It's really not a big place. There's kind of one main thoroughfare with most of like shops and things on it, and a couple side streets that have smaller places. And then there's houses throughout there. So you know, Handsome Hunter is there's the farthest. If you hear, I'm going to go ahead and say you do hear, because mice hearing, because they don't have sight, they can hear everything. What?
I got super hearing.
Yeah, exactly. So if they hear about the whole Arabella's father, you know where that is, and that's probably like the first thing you come to, because her shop and like their house is connected, is just barely in the town. It's almost in the woods, almost in the town. So that's like the first place you'd get.
Well, if and Chauncey kind of turns back to them. If you want to make a stop, that would actually be before we go to the tavern.
Um, yes, very good, Mr. Mouse.
All right then. I will let Patrick know where to make a pit stop on the way. And they'll head there first.
Sounds like you're trying to like politely introduce Mickey Mouse. And this is Mr. Mouse. Ah, oh my god. Oh my god, and that gift. Okay, so you have been on the way to Rose Cottage and the way to Arabella's father's place, where Arabella's father is. You have been walking through very classic enchanted forest kind of stuff. Where you've got some basic paths, but also a lot of times you're not on a path. It's just kind of really easy to walk through woods. Very, very pleasant. Brightens your day kind of thing. Occasionally you spot out of the corner of your eye like a woodland animal, but you mostly don't see any people really. If you see any buildings or anything, they're like way in the distance. You don't come across anything. And then as you start to get like forest is thinner, you start to be on an actual path. The first place you come is this little cozy little house. There's a sign hanging on top of a small side door. So in the front, it just looks like a normal house, but there's on the one of the sides, you can see the sign that you can see from the front, just saying Arabella's workshop. Do you head in?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It's very much an unlocked door. This is like a shop. It's not someone, this part is not the house. As you enter, clearly a workshop. It's literally just the workshop. It's not, the workshop isn't hidden in the back. It's the opening. There's like this area is the workshop. There's just a small counter near the front. That's the only thing that marks it as being a place where you could buy something. And you see a short, balding, white-haired old man in the back. He's got a set of magnifying glasses on his head. He has a clock in his hand, and it's like mostly deconstructed so that it's down to like little it's down to mostly like gears and things, and you can hear him kind of mumbling under his breath, fiddling with it. He has not noticed you at all. There is a small bell on the counter.
Um, I'm going to take a look around first because this is like catnip for me.
Okay, tell me what you're looking for.
Um, I mostly just looking at stuff, like anything that's like particularly complicated or like maybe something that I wouldn't have seen in like the world where I come from.
Okay. You see very similar things to what you saw with when you were at Arabella's kind of workstation at the Lost Boys Tree. Everything is extremely organized. Lots of things are labeled. There's not that many projects out. It seems like this probably is not where she keeps her personal projects, for the most part. You see a few things that look like they're really like boring items that someone needs fixed, like the clock. Like what would be another thing kind of thing you'd say? Maybe even like a musical instrument that looks a little bit busted that needs to be fixed, something that looks kind of like a lute kind of thing. Um, uh, you've got just like little things like that. I probably also like maybe a couple like rings that look kind of bent out of shape that need to be fixed, kind of random assortments. Nothing that looks very interesting. These all just looks like kind of like, I mean, you're a tinkerer. They look like repair jobs. You don't see any like personal projects, like cool things. The coolest thing in here is the intricate clock that he's working on.
Yes, then I would definitely watch over his shoulder at the clock, or like not over his shoulder, but like from where I can see. I would
Yeah. Can you go ahead and make me a perception roll?
That's an 8.
Okay. Only thing I'm going to give you is that you can tell he's not as. You saw Arabella work. Arabella is really good at this. He does not look like Arabella working. He's not on the same level as she is.
Um, Mal is going to ring the bell and like put put the chisel on the counter and like scoot it over towards the other end.
Okay, so as soon as you ring the bell, you hear a little oh, and he doesn't like jump, but he's like little ooh, and he stops what he's doing, very carefully sets that clock down and sets each of his tools where they are supposed to go, and takes off his glasses, walks up. Oh, hello. Uh, I know I'm not who you're probably expecting. Arabella is at and he's clearly like, you can tell he's scripted this for himself. Arabella is at the Lost Boys Tree right now, and I am holding down the fort for her, as they say, while she is gone. My name is Maurice. If you haven't met me before, I'm her father. It's lovely to have you here. Can I do anything to help you?
I'm actually here to help you, sort of. That's your daughter's or yours from your daughter. I belongs to you
And he looks
somehow.
down, and his face just like softens and takes it and is like, oh, thank you so much. And he notices a little note, and he opens the note, and you can see him like get a little bit teary, and he unties the ribbon and takes the note and slips it in his pocket, and then goes and takes the chisel and puts it in its correct place.
Yes, well, what are you working on over there?
Oh, uh, this was uh this was the last thing that was given to us to work on before Arabella left, and well, I am regretting a little bit not having her fixed it before she left. I can't seem to get it all to put work together right. I may have to find a way to get it to her. I'm sure I can figure out myself. The other things, and he kind of vaguely gestures at the things that you saw that were like repair jobs. Those are easier, and I can handle those. But I don't have the same hands she does. And he holds up his hands like this, and you can see like he has very calloused hands. This is clearly what he like. He does this too. He works with his hands. I'm not even going to make you do a perception check on this for anyone because this is going to be so obvious. But you can see his hand shaking a little bit even as he does the gesture. Um, so he's just not going to be able to do the kind of things that she does. Oh, so this means, and he kind of suddenly realizes, so you've seen Arabella. Is she doing all right?
Oh yes, she's fine. She's working with the Lost Boys.
Oh, wonderful. Um, she when she heard that Althea was there, well, seemed like that was where everyone was heading if they were trying to work on this. I don't think I'd be much good over there, just taking up some extra space, but I'm sure she'll be able to find plenty of people to help while she's there, and well, it's always the most important thing to her.
Do you need help with that? I happen to be an inventor.
Oh, wow, what have you invented?
Um, well, mostly trinkets. Yes, trinkets.
Trinkets. See, Arabella is more the one who creates the small but useful things. I always end up with these grand designs, and well, they don't always work out quite how I hoped they would, but they are fun to try to make happen, aren't they? Having a wonderful idea and trying to make it work.
I would say making is the best part, yes. Whether or not it works is secondary.
Very, very true. Although, well, I can't say that Arabella would agree with us on that one. She always gets so frustrated if she can't make it work. She wants it to be practical. She wants it to, well, she can't handle a problem she can't solve.
I have yet to encounter a problem I can't solve, so not sure if I can relate to that. However, if you need help with that, I can certainly help you.
Well, if you haven't found a problem you can't solve, I'm certainly glad that you're here. Well, I can only assume with your birth, Arabella, that you're helping with a problem.
Yes. My she looks like at the group and is like struggling to figure out what to call them. My associates and I are working very hard to fix the problem, and I assure you it will happen. It just might take some time.
And he kind of puts his hands on his hips and looks across the group. It's like, well, you look like a fine group of heroes. I'm sure we're in good hands. Um, excuse me. Come on, can we stop? Thank you. Um, oh, and he remembers your offer. Well, I'll be honest, I hate to bother Arabella with a simple clock. Uh, it, if you have a moment, I hate to put you out, but if you have a moment, it would be wonderful if you could see. I think I figured out where the problem is, but I can't seem to move it. It's so small. I can't seem to fix the right gear.
Oh, I have very tiny hands, so let me try. And then she like kind of looks over her shoulder and then takes off one of her gloves and like goes into like goes to see like what he's trying to fix. Also, I need everybody to make a perception check, please.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, everyone make a perception check.
I don't know what the DC would be on this, so that's up to you.
Well, I want you to make me. I'll let you pick between deception and stealth. Because you're trying to not let them see it, right? Yeah.
We're gonna go with stealth.
Okay. So just tell me what you get, and then anyone who beats that with perception.
A 19 for Z and a 14 for Kier.
19 for Leo.
I got
Yes.
16.
I got a 7.
Is this only visual?
Yes.
This is only visual.
Tough titty for the boy.
The boy, there's 3 of
Oh.
them.
I said the boys.
Oh, okay. I was like, which boy are you giving a tough kitty
One
to?
single boy. The one she hates the least. Oh God, 17. So anybody who got higher than a 17. Um, if you can see Mal, when she takes her glove off, there's like a kind of pinkish glitter going up her wrist. Like not completely engulfing the wrist, but almost looks like vitiligo, I would say.
I'm gonna have you make Joya, Mal, I'm assuming you're going in to try to fix the clock. I'm just gonna have you make a dexterity check and just don't blow it, and you'll have it.
No pressure.
If you immediately spot the problem, it's just you've got to tighten something up and it's real fiddly. You can tell why he would have trouble, but you figured out what the problem is.
That was a 14. My die, like rolled and landed just on the edge of my desk, and I don't know how it didn't fall. But yes, that's a 14.
Yeah, you have no problem then, especially given your background. Like you have no problem. You're able to pretty quickly fix it. And you can just see you turn around from fixing it, and he just has a huge smile on his face. It's like, oh yes, thank you, perfect. I just needed some better hands than mine. Oh, this is wonderful. And he kind of steps around you for a second and is looking at and watching it. Like he turns something so that now they're all turning, and he could see that it's like, oh yes, it's all working. Oh, wonderful. I shouldn't need your help getting it all put back together now. That's some part I couldn't get. I really appreciate this. I hope you didn't come all this way just to give me a chisel back. What are you in town for?
She's putting her glove back on very quickly and tilts her head and is like, I think we're here to see, oh gosh, what is his name? He, Handsome Hunter?
Oh, the tavern, of course. Yes, it is one of the highlights of our town now. It's a very popular place for everyone. Well, if you're on the way, I always hate to do this, but I suppose it's the thing to be done. On the way there, and I would say I don't know if he's met the mice, but I would assume he's heard of the mice. Um, so he kind of gestures towards them. He knows that they're going to be the ones that know the way. I would say it's relatively obvious from most of your appearance, except for Anastasia, that you're not from here. So the mice look familiar to him. Well, if you're on the way to the Handsome Hunter, just a few block, just a block or so down from here, there's the bookseller, and he turns around. One moment, and he goes behind a little curtain off to the side, clearly into like the house area, and comes back with an enormous stack of books in his arms. Something Arabella forgot to take care of before she left. She owes him a few of these, and these are the ones she didn't want to take with her to the tree, and she forgot to return the rest of them before she left. If you're heading that way, would you mind stopping in and giving these back to him?
You had me at bookstore. And then she's
Oh,
going
if you
to
love books, you'll love it. He's got everything there.
excellent. And then she like wraps her entire arms around like the whole stack and like carries them over to Milo with a giant grin on her face.
So
He just rolls his
Mal's
eye
pretty
at her.
short, right?
Yes, like all of 5 feet.
Yeah, so like this is a massive stack. Like it's starting to cover part of her face. This is full of books.
Milo takes some of the books from her. Most of the books.
Aww. Um, does anyone I keep coming up with details and then I'm like, do I want to make it? Does anyone want to roll a perception check does anyone look at the books? You don't need to roll perception. Does anyone want to look at the books?
I wish I could.
See what books?
Z would like look
Yeah.
at the books just to see, since she's been trying to look through the books or like look through books her whole time here.
So you notice that it's a very wide variety. There is fiction and nonfiction. A slight more majority of fiction. So there's plenty of what are obviously like novel titles that are not going to tell you anything. You don't recognize any of the novel titles, but they all sound like normal kinds of things. You notice that there are a couple that are clearly about like I don't know, something like the inner workings of clocks, like that kind of thing, that are very much about her like devices. But there are a couple other that are like completely random stuff, like the I don't know, like the horticulture of roses or something, like completely random nonsense that she's definitely never going to use, but she just wanted to know random stuff. None of it jumps out to you as stuff that seems crazy, like something that you're like, oh, that would never exist in my world. They all seem relatively normal. I'm gonna throw in one, except for there's one that says the history of sanctuary. And don't know what that is.
One. She's gonna like Jenga that one out of the stack of books and just sort of okay, I'm gonna flip through this one.
Leo's gonna like slowly shuffle so that he can read over Zephyr's shoulder.
Yeah,
Malice doing the same thing.
Totally let them.
Or are you actually trying to read it now? You're making me do that.
She's just gonna do like a quick, not necessarily like it's like a skim, like just looking to see like, is this something that I want to keep? So she'll just open it to like a random page and sort of skim the page real fast. Like, does this look like it has useful information to read later?
Let me give you something from it. beginning, middle, or end of the book do you flip through? Do you flip through?
She'll open like right to the middle and just scan a page.
Okay. Uh, at this time, there were only 10 devotees attending to Sanctuary. There was wide concern about the level of support they were able to provide. And for the first time in the history of Sanctuary, there was a recruitment drive. You scan the page, and you definitely see the word magic plenty of times. You are able to tell that this is some kind of something to do with charity, something to do with magic. They even use some words like devotees that to your mind sound almost religious. And if you do like a quick flip through, you see the same building, but with different, like with slight changes to it in pictures multiple times throughout it.
Yeah, she's gonna just kind of close that book and then tuck it into her satchel. Like that's not going back to the bookkeeper.
Valid. The mice can't see what the book is.
The mice don't know what's happening. They're just standing there waiting patiently.
So if no one says it,
the mice do know what's happening because Kier is relaying it to them through their mind.
Wow.
He's telepathically telling them what's going like. So the mice, the boys, as long as they don't like mentally shut him out, he's actually giving them an I don't know how the boys would register this, but he is basically Kier is relaying the image that he sees into their mind telepathically. So they can kind of see what's going on. How they register that, I don't know.
Can the mice read?
Can the mice read?
Kier can't see the book per se because he's a horse. He's not in like only his head is in the room. So the image that the mice are having projected onto them is Z holding this book with Leo on one side and Mal on the other, all of them staring at this book, with everyone else just sort of chilling around.
Does anyone say the name of the place though?
No, she's not reading out loud. She's just reading in her mind.
What's that book about then?
I'm not entirely certain yet, but it's worth looking at later.
Oh, all right. Well, seeing as we're the only ones from here, if you need any context, let us know.
Definitely.
Cool. So are we heading out? You saying bye to Maurice?
Thank you for your time, and we'll be sure to return these books like you've asked.
Oh, I very much appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful time with the Handsome Hunter and find whatever you need. Uh, well, I'd offer my services and however you need them in your heroic quest, but I'm sure anything I could do for you, Arabella could do twice as well, and apparently one of your own is just as capable as she is. So I'm here if you need to kind of like stops for a second. Moral support. And he I'm gonna have him. He's have a wonderful day, and he turns around and grabs one of those other fix it projects and goes back and grabs the things he needs and puts on the thing, and it's going back to work.
Shall we?
Okay, so bookseller.
I
Jeez.
request a short break.
Yes, I was going to ask at some point. We're going to have several stops. So, yes, we can take a short break. See you all in a few minutes. Okay, so as you leave and head for the bookstore, I would say that this is really not a place that the mice are super familiar with. Um, uh, partially because, like, they can't see, so they can't read a lot of the books. It's also not like a major place. It's not one of the more known stores there. In fact, as you go to find it based on where Marie said it was, the only indication that there's anything there is there's a door and there is a very small sign hung up next to it that just says books. That's it. I assume y'all just enter. So once you enter, you see a tiny little shop, and every single inch of that store is full of books. They're like ruthlessly organized. It's not just like stacks and stacks, but it's like every single surface area that they could find a way to put shelves in or to stack them somewhere. Like everything is organized. And off in the corner, you see a skinny man with white hair hunched over a book, reading in the quiet. He does notice all of you entering the store, though, and he looks up from his book and he doesn't come over to you, but he kind of shouts across the room a little bit. I mean, he doesn't really have to shout; it's very small. Oh, hello there. Can I help you find something to read?
Awesome.
We found a place to set all these books down.
Oh, and he quickly sets his down, but you can tell that he puts it in the right place as he quickly walks over. And he comes over and he just like takes the books. Surprising, he's a very skinny old man, but he doesn't seem to have any trouble holding all of these books. And he walks over and you can finally, if you follow him, kind of half following, you can see for the first time the only like blank surface in this entire area that's like a small little, what you'd expect for like a library's desk. And he just sets them on there and immediately starts like counting. And he gets not like reading the titles, reading the what's it called? Jesus, bindings. That's not it. Where the titles are. Oh my God.
Spine.
The spine.
The spine. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Reading the spines of each of the books, and he only gets to like the third one before he's like, oh, these are the books that Arabella borrowed from me. Oh, that girl. We've had to work out a deal, If she came and actually bought for me all of these, oh my goodness, she'd be spending everything she had. So we work a little bit more like a library, me and Arabella. Yes, excellent. I believe there was one more. Did it get left behind?
That's all I was given.
What does Mila say?
This is all I was given.
Roll deception.
That's a 9.
Oh man, I was like, gonna get a 10. She's like, really? Arabella's usually pretty good about returning what she's supposed to return.
This is everything I carried.
To be fair, Maurice did say that she took some of the books with her to Althea's.
Oh, all right.
I think she wasn't quite finished with all of them. He mentioned that she took a couple with her. The ones that Milo is carrying are the ones that got left behind in her rush to help Althea.
Well, I suppose I can't fault Arabella for trying to help people. It's fine. It's not. He takes a second. You could see him you can almost see him doing the whole numbers floating in front. He's cataloging in his head. Oh, yes. Sure, a dry old history text isn't going to be flying off my shelves. And he starts, he picks up a few at a time and starts walking between the shelves. And it's pretty close quarters because it's just packed in there. So he's going between zigging and zagging between the shelves. Um, uh, what brings you in here? I doubt Arabella sent a whole party here just to return books to me. And he's like finding his way, finding the spot, shelving it.
We were on the way, and Maurice asked us to finish this errand for him.
Oh, Maurice, how is the old boy?
I'm assuming he's doing well. I don't know him well enough to say whether he's doing well or unwell. He seemed in good spirits.
Oh, well, that's good. He's a nice man. Doesn't come in here as much as Arabella does, but she speaks very, very highly of him. Um, and he has like shockingly quickly shelved this entire stack of books, exactly where they should go. And like dusts off his hands and turns to you. Well, can I interest you in anything for yourself? I have kind of gestures around him. I have a very wide selection.
Do you mentioned dry old history texts? I enjoy old history more, looking for things about magic, the source therein, the history of this place, like this world, interested in histories pertaining to magics.
Let's see. Well, come here. And he gestures to you, and you walk over, and he finds a little area, and you can see like a little. He kind of gestures to a small area that's kind of sectioned off. Like there's different sections in there, and it's generally clearly like his history section. Um, it's quite a lot here. Let's see. I'm sure not. And he kind of thumbs through some. And he's like, well, some of it's a little bit ancient. I'm not sure that's going to be relevant to you. I can't imagine you want to know who wore what to what ball 100 years ago.
No, definitely not fashion history.
All right. Oh, that reminds me. While you're here, and he walks back to his desk and comes right back and hands you a stack of kind of like handbills. And glancing at the front, it is very clear this is the storybook version of fashion magazines.
She takes them awkwardly, like she very clearly is.
I'm sorry. He kind of laughs at himself. I should have explained myself. Obviously, this is not what you're interested in. I will look again in a second. Just reminded me. If you're in the area, if you're wanting something that might help you, when he kind of glances around, fit in a little bit more. The tailor is just across the street, and he asked me for these earlier, and I couldn't find them, and I finally found them. If you have a moment, I'd appreciate if you'd able to give them to him, and I would take that as payment for anything I find that you would like. And he does the little grab it with your finger and pull it down and grab it. No, I think this might be. Well, you already have something about sanctuary. That will give you something. If you're looking into magic, this might be another option to consider. And it says, it says, maintaining the balance is its title. This focuses on you can see from the back of it, but this focuses on understanding I suppose exactly what you were saying, how our magic functions here in Reverie. I find that if someone's going to look at the history sanctuary, they're also going to look at this one. They're very intertwined. You'll find much of the same information in each of these.
Excellent, thank you. And yes, I will take this to the tailors for you.
Oh, thank you. And then you may keep that book. And you should ask Arabella about History of Sanctuary then. I think that's the other one that would fit your criteria the best. There are others here about past noble houses and previous kings and queens. Um, I find I am lacking in history of some of our other regions, especially the Painted Desert. Less on that, unfortunately. There really is a hole. I should be looking into that. But I think based on your criteria, that's your best option.
Thank you very much.
And he kind of checks out the rest of the group. Anyone else looking for anything?
While Zephyr is looking at the history books, Leo is are they the sections labeled at all, or is it just kind of like look, you have to look through things?
Yes. It is so eclectic that the sections are labeled, but it's not like there's a hanging thing and now here is this. Like you have to walk through and then you'll see like a section that's sectioned off and has a label. So yes and no. If you're looking for
Leo
something.
would like to poke around to look for children's books.
I love that. You do find a section. You do notice that he's definitely it's heavier on chapter books than on picture books. But there are a few picture books. What are you looking for? Just anything?
Just something magical that he could bring home with him for his daughter.
Okay. I would say you definitely notice a lot of the picture books are like talking animal stories. That kind of fable-y kind of thing. A lot of them are that. So if you're kind of just picking at random, I don't know.
No pressure to but
but it's fun to do this. I'm the one who put myself in this spot because I brought you to a bookstore where I can't possibly plan every single book title, but I brought you to a bookstore. I mean, I've done this to myself. Maybe it's called The Mischievous Raccoon.
Perfect. He'll grab that one. He'll grab one of the like fable picture books, and then like if there's a short chapter book that he could read with her, he'll grab one of those as well. And to awkwardly wait to pay for it.
So he's you were doing that while he was talking with Zephyr, right? So I would say when he starts to turn to the group, he realizes that, oh, you already have. And he's like, oh, that's what do you have a child? There's a wonderful selections you've made.
He looks a little bit embarrassed. And it kind of nods. Yeah, I try to bring her home something.
Oh, well, bringing home books. What a lovely tradition to have. And he kind of takes another glance at them and clearly like has to only briefly glance. He has every book in his store memorized. Like not the words inside them, but he knows every single book that he has in his store. He takes a glance at it and he says, I'm just realizing. And he kind of like counts you off. Althea brought you here, didn't she? I'd heard about this. Arabella mentioned something about what she was planning. And I don't know anyone who looks like you with a child. I don't recognize any of you. And I'm actually going to say, I feel like I've asked this before. Milo, your gun is in a holster, correct?
Yep, on his hip.
So, like, it's in a holster, but you can still, like, see it.
Oh, yeah. It's right there for everyone to see.
He's kind of scans you over. He's like, I've never seen that. And he looks at Anastasia and he goes, and I would recognize anyone who was going to be wearing a tiara. So are you going to do it? Are you going to help us?
Gonna do our best.
Well, then I'm certainly not going to begrudge you a few children's books.
He looks like he's gonna protest for a second and then just kind of like gives a grateful nod and slips them into his pack.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm going to be much help with any of this. If you can't tell, and he like takes off his little glasses and rubs them against his. If you can't tell, I don't exactly leave the shop very much. And somehow I doubt that. Well, it seems unlikely to me that a dry history text or a children's book or, dare I say, the latest fashions are going to help you solve this. But anything you need, let me know. I'm always happy to help. I don't, well, I really only miss it for reaching the high places. But magic other than that hasn't affected my life as much as, well, plenty of my friends.
You'd be surprised what you might find in old history books. But thank you.
Of course. Well, I suppose I should give you a warning. Don't don't take Antoine too seriously. Uh, it, and he, I assume you all make that face for real of like, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. We don't exactly get newcomers here that often. Antoine's the tailor I'm sending you to. Don't take him too seriously. He's still finding his place.
Aha. All right. Well, thank you for the warning, advice. Yes.
Of course. Well, hopefully I'll hear about your exploits soon. And he turns back and you see if you're paying attention, you notice he goes back to the exact same book that he was reading before and is very carefully finding the page that he was on before.
Before we leave, Anastasia is going to grab the history of the kings and queens. Gotta study up. And I was saying, it is really any history book, so she'll probably just borrow the book from Z whenever she's
So
done.
one thing you notice when you see History of Kings and Queens is that there is a wide variety of texts, and of different places in Reverie. There's like and then there's like different almost like ages, like the ancient kings and queens of Arendelle, and the current line of the Sultan of Agrabah, like the and so there's a whole selection here. If you're wanting something that would look the most like what a book about your family would look like, is that what you'd want?
She was just interested in different kingdoms because diplomacy. So she wanted to get and like understand who is important in this land that she might need to know of.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. You are in the history section. So I would say that there might be a text that's something like the most celebrated rulers of Reverie, but it's clearly a history text. So you're not going to find probably, it's not going to tell you about who's in charge now anywhere, but it'll give you some highlights from the past.
That would be something that you would get.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna jot that down so I know I have to give you something. Actually, let's see. So that I don't forget. Zephyr, you secretly have a history of Sanctuary. And you also, I gave you Keeping the Balance.
Yes.
And then Anastasia, you have Celebrated Rulers of Reverie. Okay. I'm not gonna obviously write a whole book for you, but I will jot you something before next time.
All right. We heading to the tailor?
Okay. So, head out of the bookshop. Sorry, I have to go back
As
to my
they're
road.
walking, Milo is gonna hang back and come up next to Leo. And he's just gonna kind of like lean a little close and say, "How old?"
I don't remember. Shoot, hold on 1 second. 7, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think you said she was like 6 or 7 years old.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, but I didn't have his my description sheet open. Um, he kind of gets this little soft smile and 7. She's staying with my mom.
At least she's got someone. I know what it's like to be without your dad for a while. So glad she's not alone.
He looks heartbroken, just heartbroken, and kind of gives the ring on his finger a twist, and then digs in his bag for his flask and takes a swig and passes it over.
He takes a swig and hands it back. You'll get home to her. We'll figure it out.
Well, I made it back once.
Then this time will be 10 times easier, won't it?
You say so.
Well, I do say so. Because I ain't staying here.
He laughs and then he kind of pauses for a second and kind of nods his head towards Mal. She okay?
I never know with that one. Some days are better than others.
She looked like she had some sort of injury on her hand. I just want to make sure. She needs help. Let her know. I can take a look at it.
I will. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, that's all.
Immediate uncomfortable silence.
Thankfully, you don't have a long walk, so that probably fills up the whole thing, luckily for you guys. So, this is relatively new, so I'm actually going to say that mice probably, this again is a place the mice have not been yet. This is a relatively new store. And you see a very clearly hand-painted, very stylized sign as you're walking towards it that says Antoine's Finery. And as you come up in the windows, in like the spots with like mannequins, you see some like shockingly like high fashion outfits, not just like, oh, it's a ball gown, but like they're like high concept. You know what I mean? The kind of fashion you're like, could I actually wear that? I don't know if I could. But as you go to enter and you go inside, you also see that a lot of his like work area and the place where you'd actually buying stuff is not that is actually like totally normal, like what you'd expect to see on Fairytale woodland village people, like tunics and trousers and simple dresses and things like that. It's a very strange combination. Very regular looking clothes and then high fashion, and you're like, what is happening? Actually, I have to stop looking at chat while I'm trying to introduce something. It kills me every time. Um, uh, once again, me deciding with a perception check, and I'm not going to. You can see that it's essentially like all of the high fashion stuff is like arranged nicely around the store. And then there's like a few like desks, tables that just have like what you'd expect, those kind of trousers and tunics and things, just like stacked. And some of them are very obvious repair jobs. Like you can see a rip or something like that. And as you walk in, you see a young man in quite an outfit and quite a hat, working at one of the tables near the back of the room, just by hand sewing a regular looking shirt in his hand. And he looks up at you and looks back at what he's doing and does not greet you.
Z will kind of clear her throat a little bit and just be like, I have some magazines for you. I was asked to bring them to you.
And he kind of like sighs. 1 second. And he like finishes his little spot and ties it off, and cleans and like sets his stuff aside. And he looks finally like actually really looks up and takes you in and sees the handbills in your hand and is like, oh, right, from Pierre. Okay. And he walks over, holds out his hand. I assume you hand them to him.
Yeah, she'd be holding them out.
He takes them, he walks back to his things like, thanks, this will help. And he like does not, barely glances at them and tosses them to the other end of the desk that he's at and grabs his needle back up and is rethreading it and going back to another spot.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else that we can help you with, I suppose we'll leave.
And he sighs and he sets his shirt down. You can hear him like muttering under his breath and be like, why is everyone like this? And he walks over to one of these stacks of clothes, and he says, do you know where you're going next? Are you going around town?
I mean, we're in the area heading towards the
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. And he looks at his stack and you can see him like assessing a few things and sees the largest stack and is like, I guess you probably want to go over to Milo. He's my largest one left. And he just like reaches in, grabs, pulls, and hands it to you since you were the one to give him the handbills. And it's just like a stack of shirts and trousers that are like aggressively boring.
She's like she's kind of got that look on her face like, what the heck? But she takes them.
He's across the way and a few places down. He's the cartographer. He kind of glances around at you. I'm gonna guess adventuring party. Yeah, venturing party.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I don't think you'll have any use of me, unless you got a rip, and I have enough of those to deal with right now. So and he pauses because he's finally seen Anastasia. And he has noticed the tiara and is like, and turns back. It's like clearly assessing, do I say something? Nah. And turns back to Zephyr and says, he's always ripping his stuff. So yeah, I have quite a pile left for him. I lost my spot. Can you just tell him he owes me more than usual? Because fixing him takes a lot longer without my magic. And he's telling me to start watching where he's going, but not always fixing up his stuff. I'm not his mother.
You can see like a moment where Z is definitely weighing whether to tell this person. Like, does he look like he's younger, older, in between?
He looks like he's like 21. Like he looks young. I'm actually go ahead and give me an insight check.
Well,
I'll give it. He's being an ass, but he's clearly like beaten down. Like he is in this like fancy outfit. Like he looks I was about to say fly as hell, which is such a weird choice of words when I'm talking about a fantasy tailor. But he looks great. Like he genuinely and like the high fashion stuff, like it looks kind of cool, even if it's not something you'd ever wear. Like it looks kind of cool. But he is just like beaten down. Like he also does not look like he's been sleeping.
there's like a moment where he could probably see like she's about ready to just lay into him for his horrible demeanor, and she just takes a breath. I will pass on your message, but try to be just a little bit nicer. I know that things are terrible right now. It's horrible to lose your magic. It leaves you feeling sick. It leaves you feeling awful. And clearly you have a lot of work. But a horrible attitude is only going to make it that much worse. And she'll walk away with the stack of things.
Is anyone still looking at him? Zephyr turned away quick.
Milo would be just glancing back and forth between the two of them, like, oh shit.
He starts crying. Not like sobbing, but like that whole like very clearly a person who does not want to cry in front of people, but cannot stop himself right now. And like you can see, like it's not a perception check because it's not just like his eyes get watery. Like you start seeing tears, and he stands there for a second, and he turns around, and starts heading back to like just silently heads back to his spot where he was sewing.
Milo sighs very heavily and makes sure that Zephyr can hear him. And he walks over to the kid. You can't let people get to you, kid.
No, she's
But
right. She's right. I know that I can be like this. I was already so frustrated with things not going how I wanted to. And then this stupid thing happened. And so now I don't even have time for my own stuff. I don't have time to do my projects. And he's like trying to like really like subtly wipe his eyes, and he's not doing a good job at being subtle. But he's trying really hard to like pretend like he's not actually like tearing up. I don't even get to do my projects anymore, and I can't just tell people to stop because like no one else has bothered to learn how to do this because I never needed to before.
well, maybe you could be the one to teach him.
Um,
He pulls a
you can
hanky out
see
of
him
his
like
pack
trying
and
really
hands it
hard
to
to
him.
like bite back an obnoxious comment. It's like Callie, I think you said something I didn't quite hear.
Yeah, he pulls a hanky out of his pack and hands it to him. And it's like surprisingly frilly. It's
like,
very lacy.
it's like, and he kind of like makes the universal like I've been caught face. It's like that's okay, and he pulls one like out of his. I'm gonna. I didn't sketch it out because I'm not a fashion. I'm not visual person, but I would say the top of his outfit is like an absolutely gorgeous vest over a very nicely tailored white shirt. And so he pulls out of his like the pocket of his vest, he pulls out a handkerchief that is like has a like a tiny bit of like lace stuff around the edges, but is like absolutely gorgeously monogrammed on each corner. And he takes it out. I was just like, thank you though. And he like
He stuffs his into his shirt
wipes.
pocket.
Is Zephyr still in the store?
Oh no, she left. She
Okay,
took
great.
the staff, like she heard Milo sigh and like hesitated for half a step and was like, "No, I ain't got time for this crap."
I mean, valid. Is Anastasia still in the store? Okay. He he's gonna kind of raise his voice enough. He's trying not to like. It's not a large store. He doesn't have to shout. Um, I mean, if you want to look at anything, I can show you what I have. I don't know. He kind of like gestures to her whole look. It's like I don't know if you need an outfit for anything, but
I would love to have a more adventurous outfit, but as you can tell, I like a little bit more flashy things. So, do you have anything like pants, but fabulous?
I don't know if I have anything made right now that fits what you want. If you Janet looks up now. And he grabs he hurries back and you can see his like whole demeanor change. He's like, oh, and he goes back and grabs a notepad and a pencil and is like, favorite colors?
Green.
Did she say green? The mic kind of cut
Green.
out.
Yeah, green.
Okay. Do you mean emerald, deep forest green, or lime?
I like soft greens, like pink jade, but left in the sunlight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And he jots down a few notes. Uh, pants. Um, I'd give you the option, but I only ever give high-waisted.
Slay.
Do you prefer, kind of takes a look at the group. Are you planning to wear this outside of are you planning to wear this outside?
Yes, because
All right.
I think we're going on a long adventure, so I think my dress is a little bit in the way.
All right. So you'll need at least somewhat fitted ankles on it. Can't have
Yes.
wide brim pants as you're tramping around. Do you have, well, are we wanting a top to go with it?
Yes, I'll let you think this one up yourself. You can make it however you want.
All right. Any, what's your favorite feature about the upper half of your body? What would you like to have featured? What would you like to have the eye be drawn to?
I've been told I have great clavicles.
Yes, wonderful. Let's see. Obviously, we have some limitations on sleeves if you're wearing this during an adventure. But generally, do you prefer short sleeves or long sleeves?
Long.
Long sleeves. All right. I think you can see him kind of glancing around, like clearly picturing something on you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually pretty good with my eyes. Do you mind if I take a couple measurements?
Oh, absolutely. I'm used to it.
Wonderful. And he goes back, sets down his notebook, takes out his pencil, grabs a tape measure, and very quickly takes a couple measurements. Clearly not all that he'd need, but he clearly like knows he can eyeball most of them. He goes back and not jots some things down. Wonderful. I well, I don't know if you overheard. I'm a little bit swamped at the moment, but I'm excited to have a project. Whenever I'm able to finish it, where should I have it sent to?
You can send it to the Lost Boys 3.
Wonderful, wonderful. I don't worry about payment for now. I'm excited to have a new project, and well, as is custom here, you can owe me one.
Oh, thank you. I can tell you are very talented just from the stuff you have in your windows.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's been
Listen, avant-garde is a lost art and you are rocking it.
I should have known better.
No,
knew
no.
I should have moved. I should have set up my shop. I should have set up my shop in a different area. But I thought there was an untapped market here. I thought that there would be people more excited about trying something new, and it's not really been how it's worked out.
No. Sometimes people just need a little push in the right direction. Maybe start off with something a little bit smaller, like the nice blouse that you could sell to someone, and then somebody else will be like, oh, that's a nice blouse. And then they can start spreading the word. Then they might get into the more avant-garde pieces from that. You know, you just have to start small and then grow bigger. You can't just kick in a door in a country town and be like, here is a feather boa.
I suppose you're right. I've always been bad at taking things slow.
That's understandable. I see how quickly you're making all this stuff, so I can tell you're a very snappy person.
Well, thank you. And he turns around and goes, thank you. You didn't have to say anything. I appreciate that. And if he kind of gestures towards the door, if you could apologize to your friend, I'd appreciate it. I know better. I just
Hey, it's all right. I don't even know her name.
he clearly tries to like hold back a laugh, and then he just giggles.
But I will put in the word for you for whoever that person is.
Thanks. And yeah. And I appreciate if you do take those to Milo. If you can, I understand, but I do appreciate it, and it can count. You can count towards the cost of your outfit from me.
Oh, I thank you. That's so very kind.
And he's genuinely will be like he may frustrate the heck out of me, and he may have absolutely no idea how to dress or do his hair, but he's a good guy, and I'm sure any kind of adventure he can help you. He knows a lot. I can find out what he doesn't know.
And that would be perfect. Also, is this Milo Thatch?
No, what are you talking about?
Listen, is this Milo Thatch? Be real with me.
I mean, I couldn't have Milo Thatch. It wouldn't make any sense. Milo Thatch is like not from a storybook.
He can be there. Let me find my love.
Okay, so he's all right, so Antoine has thanked you all.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back and like after doing his thanks and everything, he's gonna like kind of smile at you and then go back to doing his selling because he really is. You can see he has a stack to work on. Do you say anything? I'm assuming you leave. Do you, Milo or Anastasia, do you say anything to Zephyr?
I say, chin up, kid. You got this. And walk out.
And then Anastasia goes, yes, keep your chin up.
He goes over to Anastasia and holds out his hand. I'm Milo, by the way.
Anastasia, it's so nice that somebody here tells me what their name is.
It just occurred to me that I hadn't actually introduced myself. I know I can come off as kind of an asshole at times, but
oh no,
with a lady such as yourself, I figured I should be at least somewhat chivalrous here.
I appreciate it. That with your little hanky.
Stuffs it further into his pocket.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. We all have hanky.
Not quite like this one, but thank you.
Oh, well, can I see it more then? I only saw it from a further away.
I mean, if you really want to.
I would love to, Milo.
Pulls it out and hands it to her. And it's like white, and there's a ton of lace on it, and there's little constellations embroidered into it.
This is gorgeous, Milo. Why do you hide it away?
It's not really my style, but it was a gift, so I feel like I can't really get rid of it.
No, you cannot. Gifts come from the heart. And hey,
Exactly.
and you're keeping it close to your heart in that pocket. But you know what? Sometimes it might not be your style, but you get as a conversation starter, you know? See, we're having this conversation.
We sure are.
Also, there's another Milo in town? How crazy is that? It's such a weird
I
name.
mean,
No offense.
it's kind of a common name in some parts.
Common. Not where I'm from. I've never met a Milo. You're my first.
Well, you're my first Anastasia, so
Oh my goodness. Well, look, what a world.
what a world.
She cannot hear, but she is watching this like, what the fuck?
It's okay. Milo's not her type. It's little mice are her type.
He stuffs the hanky back in his pocket.
Anyway.
And like leaves just a little corner of it sticking out so people can kind of see it.
Yay! Look at you. We're moving mountains right now.
Sure.
All right. Should we go catch up with the others?
Probably should before they get too far ahead.
All right.
So the cartographer shop is not very far away. I would say this is one that the boys do know. Again, probably not someone that they've like, I wouldn't say Milo's their bud, but he is definitely a source of information that I'm sure that they have. I would bet actually that they've probably had a job for Milo when Milo had them go out and like find something for him. Why do I keep doing this? I looked at the chat again. Oh my God, that GIF is amazing. Okay, so it's lucky that the mice have been here before because you would struggle to find the cartographer shop without it because there is no sign. It is not signed at all. And there's not even like a window display or something. There's like normal like house kind of windows. It seems like this was not originally a store and he has kind of made it one. So you're probably all a little bit skeptical when the mice lead you there, but I assume you trust them and go in anyways.
If it looks like a house, Z is going to knock before she tries the door.
How hard?
I mean, like a solid,
like a normal knock?
Yeah, like a normal solid, not like, yeah, like a normal solid, someone's at the door kind of knock.
Nothing.
She will try the door just to, if it's not locked, she'll open it.
The door is not locked.
She will cautiously enter. Hello?
Good. This place is a mess. An absolute mess. Like a mess. There's no like clear function to this room. It is not like figured out well about where tables are and stuff. It feels like there's just surfaces everywhere with like a path, and that's all that he's managed to do here. And there are papers and like writing utensils and measuring utensils on every single surface. Like no organization here. This looks like a disaster area. You do see very clearly it's not a huge room again. So you see in the back a wiry young man with messy brown hair and wire-rimmed glasses is leaning over one of the tables, and he's literally has no idea you're there. Is making careful measurements and every little bit like marking something and then going back to what he's doing. And he is like almost like on the table. He's leaned over it so far, and at times he like reaches so that he's like practically his whole upper body is on the table, and then he comes back. He is deep at work.
Z edges into the mess and probably, since she's holding a stack of clothing, probably knocks over several papers and whatnot. You just hear her muttering like, "Gods, this is worse than the Dean of History's office. What the heck?" Uh, I don't know if he hears the commotion as she like knocks
If
stuff
he
over.
does, he does not give any indication that he has heard this.
She'll
And
push.
also, you notice as the papers fall, there are other papers on the floor already.
Are you Milo?
No, I'm Milo.
You see her turn her head at you and just roll her eyes.
Well, I am. What do you want from me?
How close are you to him?
She's maybe like halfway from the entrance to where he is.
Nothing.
Nothing. Just like loud, trying to get his attention.
Okay. So, if you're being intentionally loud, yeah. So he's gonna go, Grace! And he like jumps. And the papers that were in his hand and all of his stuff, papers go flying, things get dropped. He's like, oh, and he's like bending down to try to figure out where he's dropped, but there's already things dropped on the floor, so he's like not sure what's what. Um, does the full on like is grabbing the things from under the table, isn't paying attention, and bonks his head on the table. It is like, ah. And he comes back from under the table and comes up and is like, hi.
Hi. I
How
have
long have you been here?
long enough to know that you need some help cleaning. This is a hazard.
My wife says that a lot. I know I really should, but to be honest, I feel like I tidy up every night and somehow it gets back to this. By the time the end of the day happens, I really got to get a system. But Kita, she can't handle this. She won't clean any of it for me. She's given up on me. So I have to do it all myself, and I don't know. I gotta. Sorry, you're probably not here to discuss my organizational system, are you?
No, no, I'm here because Antoine asked me to give you these, and she passes over the stack of clothes.
Thank you so much. Oh, I needed to get over there and I keep forgetting, and I'm down to like one last shirt.
Yeah,
He takes it.
He did ask if you could be just a little more careful, and like you can see her eyeing him with absolute doubt. Like it's clear on her face that she knows that there is no way this man could possibly be
He
careful.
takes the stack, and even while you're still saying that, he's like turned around. I mean, he's been very friendly, so it's not like he's like, screw you. But he walks back through like a little door there, leaves the door open, and you can hear him from behind there trip over something as he's setting down the stuff and coming back out, and comes back through the door and closes the door. Yeah, I know. And I know I drive Antoine nuts, but he's the only one I know who can fix it. And I can't keep getting new shirts. I don't know if you've noticed, but well, cartography doesn't exactly pay well.
She looks like she's absolutely no idea what to say. So are the maps all like local areas, other places?
Oh, well, honestly, I got everything.
He's like flipping some papers.
So he's like, he walks over to one and is like, oh, wait, no, that's not the right one. And he lifts it up. Ah, there it is. And he like takes this one and like haphazardly shoves it underneath this one, like, here's kind of where we're at. And then he immediately wanders away from it and goes to another table. This is Arendelle. This one, well, see, this one is close to the castle, but obviously all of that map's totally wrong now. And he walks over and painted desert here. Well, this one's near where Hook is, but that place is always changing too. That's the problem with living here. Being a cartographer here is crazy, crazy, because everyone's always moving and things are changing. I cannot keep up with it. just when I think I have something mapped out perfectly, it's the bane of my existence. I keep thinking I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna get close and everything's gonna be written out, and then I find out that something else has changed again, and I have to go find out where. And
So the landscape
it's fine.
changes?
Well, I mean, sometimes, but the people are always moving somewhere, and there's someone new, and someone gets married, and then they build a new house, and it's the problem with, small time cartography. If I was just shaping out the land, I would have been done years ago. But everyone wants a map that tells them where to go to see the people they want to see. And that means I have to keep track of everyone. It's like I'm a census taker and a cartographer, and no one wants that job.
Sounds very exhausting.
Well, I mean, that's why I do it, because it is. That's the most fun part to me, is that I get to go out and find places. I suppose that's true. If I ever actually mapped it out, I'd know where else to go. But now I get to go out and find places. Oh, speaking of, and he goes back to one of them and pulls it out. You might find this interesting. I've got to take this over to one of my friends. This is the Painted Deserts, the most recently I have. You can see Agrabah there, but you can see all of this area around it. That's what always gets me. In the town, I can usually get close, even if some things have changed. But outside of town, everything just, you never know when someone's going to set up shop somewhere. Well, not a shop, but you never know when someone's going to move somewhere and there's some new, I don't know, some new person causing trouble or some new story happening. My friend is going out there, and she wanted my latest map, and she's gonna mark on it and bring it back to me. So she's helping me out over there. She's the herbalist shop just down the road. He's like pauses for a second. Will I ever stop doing that? He he is the herbalist shop down the road. Sorry, I struggle with the animals. Uh, I go by look, I didn't interact with animals a lot when I was a kid, not the ones that talk, and I get a little confused sometimes about the pronouns.
Okay.
Sorry, that's a DM laugh because I know I just said something really confusing to y'all.
Z looks absolutely bewildered. Like she has no idea what.
And Milo doesn't notice because he's so embarrassed. Like he's a little red. He feels really bad that he did that.
So this needs to go to that place?
Oh, really? You'd be like, I mean, I don't want to ask you to do that, but if you're gonna go past petals and stems, I mean, it's a nice place. You might find something that you like. But yeah, if you could take it to him, that'd be super helpful. One less trip for me, and I can go back to trying to fix the map I was on.
Sure. And she just like she takes it and like you can see that she's very very much just like this is my life now.
Oh wait, oh man, she's gonna kill me if she catches me doing this. I'm so sorry. I'm Milo. I'm not used to new people. It's always the same people coming back to me for information, so I just forget to do the pleasantries, you know. I'm Milo.
I'm also Milo.
Keto. Really?
Yeah, that his name is also Milo.
I'm Milo.
Yeah, I've never met another Milo. That's cool.
I'm Zephyr.
Thanks.
I'm gonna guess. He kind of does like a once overview. Like you're not from here.
Katie, I had a question. Are
Yeah.
we like fully geared up for this travel around town?
That's up to you, but I'm guessing no.
Okay. Just making
Well, I
sure.
was assuming that Milo is still having. I assume Milo doesn't go anywhere without his gun.
This is true.
Yeah.
I was mostly wondering for my full armor giant warhammer reasons.
I think that's up to you, but I would have assumed that you chose not to.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. And you still, your clothes would still look weird though, right? Because your time period is not.
Or he'd be around the same time period as Milo and Mal. So like high
No, but
pants and
okay.
vests.
But would definitely look different too. Would not look the same as like Woodland Village people. Okay. But I was assuming from all of this that there's certain markers that show people that you're not from here, and one of Milo's gun is one of them. Um, so what are you doing here then?
Althea brought us here. We're gonna help
Wait
him.
a second. So you're not just. Oh. See, I assumed that was something that the genie found for you. So you're telling me that you're not from here. Well,
No.
that he like looks around and does a new once over all of you. Well, that explains some things. Wow. Wow, wow. I didn't know she could do that. That's pretty cool.
Question. Another question. When Milo said that he didn't talk to animals much growing up, did we get the sense that he maybe also was not from around here?
You got the sense that he's not from the current location you were at. Um, from what you've seen so far, someone not being from anywhere in Reverie would be a big deal. So he probably wouldn't just casually act like that but he's definitely not from this area at all. Um, well, I mean, sounds like you guys might need me at some point. Although, I mean, you got Althea. She's always got a map with her. Um, oh, his face kind of stinks. I bet you've got the rabbit too, don't you?
He's currently playing chess with a friend.
Yeah, sounds about right. Um, yeah, so he likes to think he doesn't need me. Maybe he's right. I don't know. But if you ever need something, I know at the very least that I am better at writing it out than he is. So if you ever need your own paper map, and he, again, gestures at this mess of a room with paper maps literally like all over the fucking place, I got you covered. Well, and if your adventures take you somewhere new, feel free to, drop me a line and add whatever it is to my maps.
Sure.
Well, thanks for everything. You hear a voice from behind the doors being like, Milo, what is this stack doing on the table? You can't leave it here. He's like, oh, shit. Sorry to run out on you. I gotta go deal with that. I'm not supposed to leave things out. Let me know if you need anything. Yeah, those are for petals and stems. Yeah, thanks. Bye. Nice meeting you. And he zooms out that back door to go deal with that.
Milo's gonna lean over to Mal and just say, I'm not like that, am I?
No, you're not.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, if not our Milo, leaves, then Z's just gonna leave the shop, looking absolutely bewildered because she has no idea what that just was.
All about this is my version of like Callie's torturing you, was that I've sent you on an endless fetch quest.
As they leave, Leo's just gonna kind of like lean to Zephyr and be like, "So, how many things do you think we're gonna be carrying around town today?"
I don't know, but I don't want to be the next person to talk to someone because, like, somehow I'm always carrying things.
I'll do
Uh,
it. I'd love to.
I'm normally happy to help, but like,
I can take some of that off you if you need. I don't mind carrying things. I do it for Mal all the time.
Leo's also gonna hold his hands out, like he'll take
It's literally
it.
just a map, guys. That's all that's left.
It's maps can be heavy.
carrying things is like the physical act is not the problem. It seems very strange to walk into a place and then just be told, "Here, take this." Like, I know that the all white uniform is very much a uniform, but do I look like a delivery service?
You
Yes.
just have one of those faces. You're so nice.
You look
Maybe it's
like
just
you
part
can
of
be
the culture.
trusted. Yes.
I think maybe you need to learn the word no.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, your name is Mal?
Yes. Hi, that's me.
Okay. Now I know three names
I
because
should
I know
have
the
told you
Master
everyone's
of
names
Darkness.
earlier. I'm so sorry.
You know, it's fine. People just don't tell me names sometimes. It's fine.
Since you're don't yeah. I'm Zephyr.
Hello, Zephyr. I'm Anastasia.
And she'll nod towards the white horse that the mice are riding on and be like, "That's Kier."
Kier. I remember that. Kier.
Leo looks thoroughly embarrassed and he just kind of goes, "You can call me Leo."
Okay, call me Leo. All right, have we met? Okay, and I've only met one of the mice, but introductions happen. There we go. Now we all know each other.
Great. So by that point, you see a very, very adorable sign, like with ivy on it, like drawn on ivy. It's really cute, and it says "Petals and Stems," and it's got a nice little front like window display, with like some houseplants mixed in, but it's mostly like kind of what you'd expect of like herbalist. Very wide selection though. And as I presume you enter, because it's very obviously a store. Uh, it's very cozy. There's jars and bottles just literally everywhere, but it does seem like organized mostly. There are a handful of candles scattered around, but the shop is definitely dimmer than the other shops. Even what appears to be the sales counter, is also covered with an array of plants and jars and bottles, as well as a pile of black and white fur.
Hello, we are not a delivery service, but we have a delivery.
I poke the fur.
Oh my God, you just don't touch fur. Where's the
So,
consent?
which happens first?
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Milo?
I think it would be pretty simultaneous.
Just the one brain cell is working at the same time.
Okay. So, you see the head comes up even like jerks from the poke, and a head comes up, and you see that it is a small little skunk. Who has
All
been
right, y'all. I'm proficient in animal handling.
who has been sleeping on the counter.
Is it
And
flour?
he kind of jerks a little bit, but then like brings his head up slowly and is like blinking the sleep out. Oh, hello. It's good to see all of you. Um, Welcome to the Petals and Stems. Sorry that you caught me sleeping.
You
What can I
run
get
this
you?
establishment?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Do you need anything?
We have a delivery for you from not our Milo, but the other Milo who lives here.
I'm Armilo.
Yes.
Z holds out the map.
Okay. Thanks. Um, and he pushes out his little paws and like grabs a mat like this and goes back and he sets it on the counter and like kind of carefully like folds it so it's a little more manageable for him. And he sticks it in his mouth and jumps off over the counter and you see him kind of like he sticks it in a little spot behind the counter and pops back up then on the counter. It's like I really appreciate that. I'm really excited about this trip. Uh, I assume Milo told you about it. He's now one to, well, keep his mouth shut. Um, I've never been to the Painted Desert before. I know everything about all the plants here. So, as you can see, he kind of looks around with clearly a lot of pride on his face at the just full of like everything. And they're all like, who knows plants? Do any of you know plants? They're kind of recognizable. Most of them
I
would be
know desert
recognizable.
plants.
Then this wouldn't help. See, you can kind of, even if you don't super know plants, you can kind of tell that they're grouped because even just like there's ones that are clearly flowers all in one section together, and like similar looking pots. So it's very like cataloged. Um, uh, but yeah, I know everything about all the stuff around here. So it'll be really fun to find some new stuff. I give himself a big yawn. Um, Sorry, didn't introduce myself. I'm Flower. It's nice to meet all of you. We don't get new people around here very often. What are you here for?
We're here to help. Yeah. Talk to this one. And he points over to Anastasia. She's the charismatic one.
If I'm wearing the hat, I'm not.
I don't think you said you put on the hat though. You just said you were taking it.
Yeah, I just took it. I'm not wearing it. We all got brought here to help with the magic situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, Man, I'm just really glad that we can all still understand each other.
That is so good. You're so right. It'd be so sad if we could not talk to each other.
I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't talk to my human friends. I'm really glad at least that's still around. Um,
Yes.
it's not as big a deal for me. I never really used it much, but yeah, some of my friends are taking a little bit harder.
Yes,
But
we have
that's
seen.
great. It's
Yes.
great that y'all are helping with that. Um, uh, thanks for thanks for bringing this. If you ever need stuff from me, just let me know.
Of course.
Oh, if you have you been to the gallery yet? I think that's one of the best places here to see.
No, we haven't. We've been to the tinkerer's place, we've been to the cartographer, we've been to the tailor. But what's one more stop on our trip here? We've been bringing things everywhere.
Really? Oh, well, I mean, I do have something. I do have something that needs to go to the gallery, but was gonna go there after my nap, but I mean, if you're gonna go there, it's real pretty.
You know what? Sure. Why not? We've already been doing it all day today.
Oh my gosh, you're so nice.
Uh,
All of you are so nice. Well, it's over here and does like a flying leap off of the counter and just like very cat-like lands on feet, goes running over to one of the areas and pounces up and kind of pokes at a couple little jars full of flower petals. Um, these are the ones she wanted. She had an idea about making some paint from these.
that sounds lovely. Is it, is it Rapunzel?
I don't even have to go to the gallery and find out who it is.
It's got to be Rapunzel.
Be a made-up person. You already had one of those.
All right. Yeah, so we will bring this to the gallery.
Awesome. You can't miss it. It's in the end of the street. It's the last thing on the right before you get on the path to the tavern.
Perfect. And then, we have to go there anyway. So it's on the way to where we have to go.
Were you going to the tavern? Oh, you like
Yes.
that. I don't get all the food's jokes, but it's pretty popular.
Well, that sounds good. Anyway, yes, we'll bring these to the gallery for you. And CZ, it's not just you. It's the group energy.
I'm starting to gather that. Yes.
But
All
you
right.
know, if you need anything, I mean, you're doing me a favor. So, do you need anything?
Do we need anything?
I got everything.
You do. It's so nice in here. The air quality is superb.
Yeah. I know there's some places. I've been told that some of the other herbalists, they just keep everything like dried, but I like to have some growing plants around. It makes me feel better when I'm here.
It's lovely. It's fits your namesake.
Oh, thank you.
Of
You know
course.
what? And he goes like pounding away. And he comes back and he brings limitations of pause. He's you hear a scraping along the floor. And he has like brought from the back and then like pushed up, scraped it along. A little pot with a little flowering plant in it. It's not very tall, but it's got like little purple flowers along the edge. And he's like, why don't you take this? I think you'll like it.
Really? Well, thank you so much, Flower. It is beautiful.
It's one of my favorites.
I can see why. It is lovely, just like you.
Oh, you're lovely too. It was lovely to meet you.
It was lovely to meet you, Flower.
Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And he like goes up, jumps back onto the thing, and curls up.
Crying. Oh. All right. Who wants to hold the bottles?
I can carry it.
Here.
Leo will also offer.
There are three, so one, and
I'll take it.
okay. All right.
I promise I'm almost done torturing you guys.
All right, to gallery.
It is very easy to spot the gallery. Like Flower told you, it is the last one along the thoroughfare before you start heading a little ways off to the tavern. You can see the tavern from where you're at. And there's a cute little sign. It says the Sundrop Gallery. And not only are there paintings inside the window, the essentially like all of the space that is not window has been turned into like a mural covered in flowers and little like designs. And as you enter, you notice that it is kind of a mix of like really beautiful landscapes, like stylized landscapes, and very like abstract paintings, but it's all very colorful and very beautiful, very stylized. and you see a girl sitting on a little stool facing an easel in the back who is currently painting something. And you notice that she does have extremely long blonde hair that is in a huge braid that is dangling on the floor a little bit. And she's kind of humming to herself as she is painting.
Hello.
Oh, hello. And she like jumps up from it, not like getting startled, but like has noticed you and is excited, and sets her brush down and jumps up. Oh, hello. We don't get new people here very often. Are you here to look at some paintings?
We are here on behalf of Flower.
Oh,
These two lovely men here have a gift bearing for you.
Where would you like me to put these, miss?
oh, well, and she doesn't really have something like a sale counter. So she's kind of like glancing around and sure. Well, you could just set it below the easel I have set up. And I'll look at them later. Hopefully my my plan works out. Flower's so sweet to give these to me. I was trying to make some new paints. I like to make my own. So I'm really excited to try this out. And I know he's leaving soon, so it's really sweet of him to make sure that he gets them to me before he leaves. Um, I don't recognize any of you. Are you in town to see LeFou?
Yes.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll love it so much. Whenever we have new people, they're almost always here to see him. You just have fun and it'll be great. Um, uh, yeah. Well, I really appreciate the favor. I'm trying to decide which thing she would latch on to. I think it's Anastasia is what she would notice. No, I'm wrong. Where's Kier? Is he in? Is he in the store?
Here would have his head poked in through the door. Like if the door is open or if there's like any kind of like space for him to at least peek in, he's polite enough to not walk in. He knows how most humans react to that.
Okay. So she's going to notice him and go sprinting over to him. And she's gonna like stand right in front of him and do like a little mini curtsy and be like, "Oh my goodness, aren't you handsome?" Give a little mini curtsy. Hi, what's your name?
He looks at her and just in his mind and or in her mind, she can hear him say, "I'm Kier, nice to meet you."
And there's like this moment of like, huh? Of trying to process what just happened because you guys just interacted with Flower. When you talked with Flower, you didn't hear him in your head, you heard a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so she is used to that and is very confused for a second and then just brings herself back in and is like, "Oh, well, it's lovely to meet you. You are really stunning. Oh my goodness."
And he'll respond and like he can or she'll feel like just a little hint of amusement when he says thank you, and then he'll be like, "Your paintings are very lovely."
Oh, thank you so much. It's my favorite thing to do. It's uh it's more for me than well, I I don't know. I'm trying to share them with others, but it's just my favorite thing to do. He's not, there's no saddle, correct?
There is a saddle. Um, it's just a very simple saddle. And for everyone else that's like standing around, they can hear her talking. They cannot hear him talking to her. So as far as everyone else around is concerned, she is having a one-sided conversation with this horse. But no, he has a saddle and he has um a halter. Like there's no bit in the bridle, like everything, like there's reins attached to the halter, but there's no bit. Uh,
Okay.
so but he has a saddle.
Okay. Um, I'm just trying to decide how she'd react to that. Um, I guess I think I mean, if nothing else, the thing that would be resonating with her is the fact that he did not communicate the way she's used to. So she kind of like turns and looks specifically at Zephyr because they're clearly connected. Because you're in like matching stuff,
Oh yeah,
right?
I mean this horse is like pure white and the saddle while being I mean like white coat, white tail, white mane and the barding on like the saddle blanket and everything is like this beautiful like embroidered blue with like silver and she is clearly in an all white outfit. Uh like they're very much a matching set. Yes.
So she's gonna kind of turn to Zephyr, but like try to make it clear, especially she's like looking back and forth a little awkwardly, trying to make it clear that she's talking to both of you and not ignoring Kier. Um, I'm you're not from here, are you?
No, we're not. And if he's speaking to you, then you've made quite an impression on him because he doesn't normally talk to anyone but me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, thank you, Kier. I'm grateful that you would talk to me. Um, I know not everyone likes to talk as much as I do, so thank you. Um, so are you? Where are you from?
Very far away.
Oh, oh, oh. Althea brought you here, didn't she?
Hmm.
Oh, and you can see her. She's an open book, so I'm not gonna have anyone roll for it. You can see her like get visibly sad. Um, well, I'm glad that you've got people here trying to help. You are gonna help, right?
We're gonna try.
Well, I'm grateful. We we really need some help, and she's even like kind of like hunching over, like she's going into herself a little bit. Um, I just really don't know what's gonna happen if I don't know. We every I don't know if all the I don't know if all the protections we have are still there or not. So I don't know what's gonna happen if I don't know. A lot of the people from here that want to do bad things, they use magic. So hopefully they can't hurt us. But I'm just worried that they'll find other ways. So we really need your help.
Well, we'll do our best. That's why we're here.
So I
But
guess you're not here to just see LeFou then.
no, but you know, if they can adapt, you can adapt. So don't think you're helpless just because magic is running haywire.
I know. I just
It's just I've
yeah.
gone through similar, and this is not new to me. So if if we can adapt, you can adapt, and we'll do our best to set things right.
I'm just gonna mention because I know you all have a picture in your head here. Um, she is the youngest person that you have seen today besides the Lost Boys. Um, you're not like concerned that she's on her own. It doesn't look like she's like 15, but she doesn't look like she can be much more than 18. She still looks kind of like an older teenager. So, yeah, she's still really young. Um, well, thanks. I I don't know what I can do to help. I just paint and I don't know, bake and things. I don't really think I'm going to be much help, but if you ever need anything, I know that we all really want this to get fixed and to find a way to help. Um, are you going to talk to Gaston then?
I think so. She'll look back at the group. I know we're heading
Yeah,
to Happy Hunter. Is that what
yeah.
it's
So, Handsome Hunter.
yes.
DM note, the thing that you said the reason why you were sent to Gaston is because Gaston fought the crocodile that ate Hook's hand. So he might have info. She said, I just figured. I mean, look, LeFou's fun and he can take your mind off things, but I can't imagine that you're going to him for help with something like this. Not that he wouldn't help. I just mean, I don't know. I don't know if jokes are what you need right now. Um, well, good luck with him. He can be a handful. But I hope you find what you need.
Thank you. And in her mind, Kira's just gonna be like, say, chin up, colorful paintings and things that bring smiles to people's face do more good than you would imagine.
She definitely gets like a little teary. Like you can see some water in her eyes. She's gonna step to Kier and like make the obvious move of like the horse girl pat down, you know what I mean? From there and kind of like do this like
he will allow it.
And she does like just a couple little strokes from like center of forehead down to nose. And then she's kind of like puts her hands together and looks a little like embarrassed and awkward. It's like, well, thanks. You better hurry if you want to catch a show. And she kind of feels like awkward and embarrassed and kind of like waves and goes back over to where she was painting. Oh my God. My phone just told me. Okay, so all of that took way longer than I expected because y'all dragged me into things that I didn't expect. So I do have prepared the introduction to I do have prepared the introduction to the Handsome Hunter and LeFou and Gaston. It would be at least another half hour, but probably not more than that, unless you guys wanted to then like do the talking, but we're getting late enough that I assume we don't want to. So do you want to go to the Handsome Hunter and do the introduction and then stop there, or do you want to stop here?
I feel like stopping here would be a good point, so that way when we have the introduction, it's all fresh in our minds.
Plus, we got two people who are feeling a little sick.
Yeah.
Or half felt sick.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, cool. Yay.
It was so fun.